everyone, this is Praseeda and welcome to PS I'm Talking. Now, today I'm going to cover something that a lot of people have asked me to speak about. It is, how did I save money? What are my strategies to save money? Now, if you're someone who is looking to save money and you're serious about it, then there are actually three questions that I would like you to ask yourself. First, why? Why do I want to save money? Now, your why, that is your reason why you want to save money, is very important. And remember that you don't need to convince somebody else for that reason. Like, for example, if you might want to save money because you want to lead an independent life, you may not want to ask or depend on your parents for money. You might want to maybe able to leave your job, your current job, and follow your passion or travel the world, whatever it is. So you might want to build a house for yourself or parents. Whatever your reason is, it is your reason. Others may not at times be okay with it, or kind of have the same share the same opinion as you do, but that is okay. So make sure that you know why you want to save money. Second thing is how. There are hundreds of ways how you can save money. Here we will just touch upon very basic aspects that I did initially when I started this journey, and that really helped me kind of put things on track. So these are very basic things, and we will be covering each of these topic in depth in our upcoming videos. So this, consider this video as just a kind of a base for our upcoming talks as well. Now, the third question is why again? Because once you decide how we want to save money, the journey may not look very fancy. At times it feels a little difficult to continue on that path. But if your why is strong, if you are really convinced about saving money and you know why you are doing it, trust me, your journey becomes that much easier. So why, how, and why again? Now that you have decided that you want to save money, let's look at what are some of the ways we can do that. The first thing is a no-brainer: spend less. Now, who doesn't know that, right? If I want to save money, I need to spend less. If I spend less, I will save money. But the trickiest part is actually doing it. Now, spending less money sounds more easy, but you actually have to put some effort into it. So, for example, you might want to really take a look at the house that you live and think for yourself, if you're living alone and if you are in a 2 BHK house paying 15 or 20,000 rupees, depending on wherever that you live, is it really worth it? So what I'm trying to say is basically question everything that you spend. Even if it's a 1 rupee purchase that you do, question the quality of item that you get in return with that 1 rupee that you're spending. Remember, this 1 rupee is a hard earned money. Another way of seeing how you can spend less money is to understand if there are cheaper or free alternatives to what you're currently spending for. Like, you might have an expensive gym membership. If you're staying in a city, you might have parks, or you might have access to beach if you're in Chennai, or in cities like that. Or you might have some community centers where they offer free courses or courses at a much cheaper rate. So take advantage of that. Take advantage of the nature, the parks, the beaches, the open spaces that you have if you want to go do that kind of workout there. So basically take a look at everything that you spend and see if there is a different way of doing that. Can I do the same thing? Can I achieve the same thing for a cheaper price, or if possible, for free? Now, the third thing is something that everybody dreads about: budget. Somehow the word budget itself has got a negative connotation. It gives people a feeling that it's something is being taken away from them, as if they're on a budget, they cannot have fun, they cannot go out with their friends, they cannot have life. But it is none of that. So basically, budget is nothing but understanding what your expenses are and limiting your expenses to, or capping your expenses to a limit that you have kept for yourself. So there are various ways of budgeting. Again, we will cover budgeting alone in a particular talk, but the very basic aspect of budgeting is, like I said, write down what your income is or incomes are if you have more than one income, and write down what your expenses are. Now, when you think about your expense, it is not just your rent or utility. If you pay 10 rupees for chai, that's your expense, write that down. If you give 50 rupees for your ironing fellow, that's an expense. If you have an LIC policy that is only a quarterly or a half yearly payment, and you may not really see that amount going from your bank account every month, but that's your expense too. So prorate it to a monthly sum. So let's say if you're paying 300 rupees in a 3000 rupees in a quarter, so that's coming up to 1000 rupees a month. So write that down too. So basically look at everything that goes from your bank account every month, every year, and write that down as your expenses. Now that you have given a good thought about your expenses, you've written everything down, categorize them. These categories can include rent and utility. It could have a category as food. It can have a category as fun. Of course, you need to spend some money for fun activities. It can be going out for movies or going out to watch plays, whatever that is. Have a category for that. Categorize, your expenses that you do on self development. I think it's very, very important that you take some amount out every month for developing yourself. It can be your courses that you do online, some webinars that you attend. Sometimes those cost money too. So, categorize those expenses as well, and categorize travel. So, like I said, if you will be traveling, twice a year to your hometown, what expenses or what amount of money is prorated on a monthly basis, put that under the category of travel. So now you have your income, you have your expenses, and you've categorized every expense into some category. Now the next step is to take a real hard look at how much you are spending on each category. You have to write your expenses down for 3 whole months. Or if you already have an idea of how much exactly you spent, or more or less approximately how much you spent on those categories from the past 3 months, that's wonderful. Take a real hard look at how much money you have spent on those categories and are they really worth it. Now, the next thing that you need to do is to see whether you have a category called savings or investment. Ideally, the very first category in your budget should be savings or investments. Before you start making any expense for the month, even before your rent goes out or even before your maintenance goes out, the first thing that should happen from your bank account once you get your salary is that a portion should go into your savings or investment. Now, we will talk about savings and investment alone in future. However, to begin with, you understand how much money you can set aside to save or invest. Now, coming to the last part of this talk, what I wanted to talk about is mindset, your attitude. Now, I think this is the most important aspect because often I have seen, and in my own experience, whenever somebody says that I'm on a budget or I am trying to save money, a lot of people might kind of not understand you, right? So it's very, very easy to feel ashamed when you have to tell somebody that you're on a budget. But what I have to say is Do not be ashamed to admit that you are on a journey to save money and make your future better. And stay away from negative influences as much as possible. Personally, I've had a colleague, he was much older at that time. Like I was, let's say, 21 and he was in his 40s. He had a family, he had a wife and two daughters. So I would somehow imagine that he would understand the importance of being on a budget, but he didn't. Whenever he, told me, oh, as a team, we are going out having a coffee, are you coming? And whenever I politely refused or declined, he would just laugh or he would just make fun of me. And I never understood why. And initially, when that would, that used to hurt me, but very soon I kind of got over it. Right. And I tried to stay away from him as much as possible when it came to this kind of discussion. If possible, try and find a friend or a family member to do this together with you so that you can hold each other accountable, and who knows, you can make it fun too. If you have like-minded set of friends, you can, instead of going out for drinks or watching movies in multiplexes, you all can gather in somebody's house on a weekend and have like a fun time together. So it's very important that you surround yourself with motivating set of people, or at least the people who wouldn't judge you or make fun of you. And if possible, surround yourself with books, the kind of resources that you need to keep you motivated as well. Now, until we speak about each of these things in detail, I hope you will take the time out and at least start thinking about whether this is a journey that you want to take and how you would like to take that. And until then, this video will give you some food for thought, and I'll see you next time.